Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/ASYM for the top 10 stocks to buy right now. One of the most interesting stocks in the solar industry is Enphase. This is a company that almost went bankrupt within the last decade, but was saved and is now one of the most valuable companies in solar energy. So what do you need to know about this company? That's what I want to dig into today. My name is Travis Hoyam. Thanks for watching Asymmetric Investing. Please subscribe here on YouTube for all my content and check out my newsletter, Asymmetric Investing, below for more great stock analysis. Now, to start looking at Enphase Energy, I want to show exactly what they're making, because this is not necessarily a product that you're going to interact with. This is the company's micro inverter. This is a small inverter or a device that's going to turn the direct current coming off of a solar panel into alternating current that can actually be used by the grid or the home. So this is a device that is going to go on every single solar panel in an installation, particularly on rooftops of people's homes. They're also moving into the commercial market, but for the most part, the residential market is going to be where most of these devices are sold. What this does is that allows SolarEdge to then become the brains of the solar system. And this is really key to the company's strategy as it's rolled out over the last 5 years or so. They're controlling the point where electricity is coming into the home, interacting with the grid. And so now they're able to control where that energy goes. That allows you to get into new products like energy storage. So the next phase of growth is the company bringing energy storage to market. Again, this is something that a lot of other companies are doing, but just building a battery isn't good enough. In the solar industry, you need to build a battery and then you need to be able to control it. So how much electricity is coming off of my solar panels? How much do I need from the grid? What's the optimal time to be storing energy? What's the optimal time to be sending it back to the grid or using stored energy in home? And then add electric vehicle charging to that. And you need to have a very smart system. Enphase is sort of backed into a position where they are the brains of the solar system and the energy infrastructure in homes. Here's a look at their charger. Again, this is an area where that they're trying to expand into. We'll see if they're able to be successful doing that. Chargers are not a real high value market, but when you add it to something like energy storage, it maybe could be in the future. Here's a look at all the touch point that Enphase has with customers. Microinverters on the roof, like I talked about earlier. And then you have all the components that are controlling load and grid access right here. So your utility meter, maybe a heat pump, you got your IQ or Enphase system controller, system battery. You have a charger in the garage here. Lots of different ways that Enphase can sell products into this market. Another slide that I thought was really interesting from their investor presentation is the way that they look at potential revenue per home. So 2019, you're looking at maybe $2,000 just by selling micro inverters into the home. 2020 and beyond, you're looking at maybe $12,000 because you have a battery, you have micro inverters, you may have a load controller, lots of different products that you can include. But this is where I also want to bring up a few things that investors want to be aware of. You start being $12,000 in cost for an installer, and now suddenly that's a big number that they're going to want to lower in the future, because that installer not only doesn't want to give up all the control that Enphase wants to have in its ecosystem, it wants to lower costs. So they don't want to go to you and say, hey, your solar installation is going to cost $40,000 and 12 of that is going to go to Enphase. They're going to want to go to you and say, hey, the total installation is $20,000 and maybe only 5 of that goes to Enphase. So there's going to be cost pressures and margin pressures. Over the last few years, there's been a lot of tailwinds for companies like Enphase because it's been mandated that you need to have module level power electronics. So basically a device on each panel that can shut the panel down. That's what a microinverter is. But we've moved that through the market. So that's not necessarily going to be a tailwind anymore. Now, as the company tries to get into batteries and controlling more of the ecosystem, you're going to have installers pushing back going, wait, maybe this is something that we want to control. So I think that's going to be something that's going to be interesting to watch for a company that has been a growth stock for quite a while now. Does there start to be pressure on revenue and margins as this number, the revenue per home, gets bigger and bigger? The other thing I wanted to touch on here is Enphase Energy's financials. You can see that growth has been absolutely tremendous over the last 5 years. That's how long this chart goes, up to $2.6 billion. And the growth rate has remained really strong, in excess of 50%. Margins have flatlined a little bit over the last 3 years. On a gross margin perspective, looking at about 45%, and operating margins have come down from 24% to about 21% right now. This is something that I think will continue to see some pressure in the future. Like I said, once you get to be a big market like this and very profitable companies, now other electronics companies start to see that as something maybe they want to get involved in. And Enphase doesn't own that customer interaction. They're relying on installers to actually put their product in the field. So that's something that could be coming down the line, just something to watch for investors. So how should we be thinking about Enphase as an investment today? Well, this is definitely one of the best positioned companies in the solar industry. Being the brains of any solar installation has turned out to be a phenomenal position to be. And the company's done a really good job expanding from a relatively small product into more pieces of the value chain. So I think strategically, it's in a really great position. The problem that I have with Enphase stock right now is it's just really expensive. Price to sales ratio is just under 9. The price to earnings ratio is 46.5 right now. If any of this competition that I talked about in this video comes to pass and we start to see revenue growth slow, maybe margins fall, investors are paying a lot for future growth. And so those kinds of downsides is what would push a stock lower. This isn't a stock that I own, but if I was going to buy it, I would like to get it a lot cheaper than what we're getting today because I don't like paying up for a stock that may face future headwinds. But maybe you feel differently. If you do, leave your comments in the comments section below. Don't forget to follow Asymmetric Investing. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you here next time.